Have you ever felt like you're living in a script someone else wrote, saying the lines they want to hear, walking the path they chose for you, until you can't even recognize your own voice anymore? If today you tore up that script and started writing from scratch, how different would your story be? Somewhere along the way, we start trading little pieces of ourselves for approval. We bend to fit into boxes we never chose. We wear smiles when we're hurting, agree when we mean no, and keep quiet when our truth is screaming to be heard. And maybe, just maybe, you've been doing this for so long. You've forgotten what it feels like to live as you. Buddhist wisdom calls this forgetting your original face. The Zen masters say that peace doesn't come from changing the world. It comes from remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. In modern life, that might mean learning to set boundaries, protecting your time, and asking yourself each morning, what do I actually want today? And here's the thing, living for yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest. When your roots are deep, the storm can't shake you. Just like a tree that stands firm no matter which way the wind blows, you find your center and hold it. You give to others, yes, but from a place of fullness, not from exhaustion or fear. Think of your life like a canvas. Right now, maybe you're letting everyone else hold the brush. Parents, friends, society, strangers online. And the painting? It's starting to look nothing like you. But the truth is, you're the only one who can make it real. You owe yourself the masterpiece. So as we dive into this video, I want you to remember one thing. You don't owe the world your life, but you owe yourself the chance to live it fully. And by the end of this, you'll see exactly how to take it back. Now we arrive at the first lesson in today's video. Pleasing others, the trap that makes you lose yourself. Think about this for a moment. You can't drink poison just to quench someone else's thirst. And yet, isn't that exactly what so many of us do? Every time you say yes when your whole heart is screaming no, you turn your back on yourself. It might seem small in the moment, a harmless compromise, a tiny sacrifice. But the truth is, these small betrayals stack up until one day you wake up and realize you've traded your own soul for a seat at someone else's table. This habit doesn't start overnight. It begins early when we're taught that being loved means being agreeable, that to be accepted we must make things easy for others, even at the cost of our own truth. We learn to smile when we're hurting, to nod when we disagree, to shrink when our spirit wants to expand. And slowly, without noticing, we drift away from our dreams, our voice grows faint, and the clear spring of our true self becomes clouded. Buddhist wisdom tells us that mindfulness is the key to coming home to ourselves. It's not just meditation on a cushion. It's the daily practice of pausing, listening inward, and honoring what you hear, even if no one else understands it. When you set a boundary, you're not pushing people away. You're protecting what is sacred within you. Think of it like tending a garden. You don't let just anyone trample the soil because you know the roots growing there will one day bloom into something beautiful. The Buddha said, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. That's not just a pretty quote. It's a radical truth. You cannot give love from a place of self-abandonment. When your own cup is empty, even your kindness becomes strained. But when you fill yourself first with respect, rest, and truth, you give to others from abundance, not depletion. So ask yourself, where in your life are you drinking that poison? Where are you bending, hiding, or pretending just to keep the peace? What would happen if you chose honesty over approval, even in small ways? Maybe it starts with pausing before you agree to something and asking, do I really want this? Or am I afraid to say no? Remember, living in truth isn't about pleasing fewer people. It's about betraying yourself less. And each time you choose your own voice over the noise, you plant another root into solid ground. One day you'll look back and realize you didn't just stop betraying yourself, you started becoming yourself. As we close the first lesson about refusing to betray yourself just to please others, there's another truth we must face. Once you start living in alignment with your own values, not everyone will applaud you. And that's where our next lesson begins. Standing strong when others can't accept you. Imagine a river flowing steadily toward the ocean. Along the way, it meets rocks, branches, even walls built by human hands. Some people will try to redirect it, contain it, or slow it down because its natural course doesn't serve their plans. But the river doesn't stop being a river. It bends when needed, but it never forgets where it's going. True freedom is knowing you can continue your path without needing everyone to agree with it. The fear of being judged or misunderstood is what makes us build dams inside ourselves, holding back our truth so it won't spill over and make others uncomfortable. We start shaping our lives into something smaller, something more acceptable, and in doing so, we trade authenticity for temporary peace. But here's the reality. No matter how carefully you navigate, someone will still find fault, disagree, or wish you were different. If your self-worth depends on avoiding every ripple in the water, you'll never reach the sea. Buddhist wisdom says, do not look for a sanctuary in anyone except yourself. That sanctuary is the steady current within, the knowing that even when others stand against your flow, you are still moving towards something greater. Standing strong doesn't mean resisting everyone or turning your life into a fight. It means trusting your direction enough that you don't abandon it just because someone else doesn't understand it. So the next time you feel the pull to shrink, to apologize for being who you are, pause and ask, is my path worth more than their approval? If the answer is yes, keep moving. The ocean is waiting. So how do you stand strong? Start by noticing the moments you feel the urge to explain or justify yourself. Pause. Take a breath. Ask, do I need them to understand me, or do I just need to understand myself? Release the idea that everyone's opinion matters equally. The ones meant for your path will stay, and those who can't accept you were never truly walking beside you. Imagine living like the mountain, unmoved whether the sky is stormy or clear. Praise doesn't make it taller, and criticism doesn't make it shorter. It simply is. You have that same capacity within you. The day you stop needing everyone to like you is the day you start living without apology. Remember this, you're not here to be edited into someone else's version of acceptable. You're here to live your truth, shine your light, and trust that the right people will recognize it. Leaving our last lesson about standing strong when others can't accept you, there's a deeper layer we need to explore. Why living for other people will always leave you disappointed. That's our next step. Living by others' standards, the fastest path to disappointment. Picture a bird that never leaves its cage, even when the door is open. It sings the songs others taught it, hops from perch to perch, and eats the food placed in front of it. It might survive this way, but it will never know the taste of the wind, the weightlessness of its own wings, or the view from the highest branch. Living for others is a lot like that. You might get by, but you'll never truly live. When you live for someone else's approval, your happiness becomes fragile. A single compliment lifts you up, but one criticism sends you spiraling down. Your sense of worth becomes like glass, beautiful, but easily shattered. And the truth is, you're placing that glass in the hands of people who may not know how to hold it. The pressure is everywhere, from society telling you what success should look like, to social media rewarding you for fitting a certain mold, to family and friends setting expectations you never agreed to. But here's the undeniable truth. None of them live in your skin. None of them walk in your shoes. Only you carry the weight of the choices you make. Buddhist wisdom says, peace comes from within, do not seek it without. That means the stability you're looking for can't be built on the shifting sands of others' opinions. It has to come from deep roots within yourself. So how do you grow those roots? Through mindfulness. Checking in with yourself daily, asking, what do I truly want today? And being willing to say no when something isn't right for you. It means listening to the quiet inner voice over the loud noise of the world. At first, it might feel selfish or even scary, but the more you practice, the more you'll feel grounded, unshaken by praise or blame. Start small. Before saying yes to an invitation, pause and see if your body feels open or tense. Before chasing a goal, ask whether it's truly yours or something you've inherited from someone else's dreams. With each honest choice, you anchor yourself deeper into your own life. And here's the beautiful thing. When your happiness is rooted inside, criticism loses its sting, and approval becomes a pleasant bonus instead of a desperate need. You become like that bird finally stepping out of the cage, discovering the air was yours to breathe all along. Coming out of our last lesson on how living for others leads to disappointment, it's time to flip the perspective entirely. Many people fear that choosing themselves makes them selfish, But here's the truth. Caring for yourself is not selfishness. It's the only way you can truly care for anyone else. That's our next step. Nourishing yourself, the foundation of true compassion. Think of a lighthouse standing on a rocky shore. Its light guides ships to safety, but only because the structure is solid, the lamp is well fueled, and the keeper tends to it daily. If the lighthouse is neglected, its light goes out, and every ship in the dark loses its way. You are that lighthouse. Your love, your guidance, your compassion, they can only shine if you keep your own foundation strong. We live in a culture that glorifies self-sacrifice, that praises the person who gives until they're empty. But Buddhist wisdom invites us to look deeper. When you give from exhaustion, your kindness becomes strained, and your presence loses its warmth. True compassion isn't born from depletion. It flows from a place of inner abundance. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. The Buddha's words are more than poetic. They are a directive. If you deny yourself the care and respect you need, what you offer others will be incomplete, no matter how much you give. So what does nourishing yourself look like? It's knowing when to rest without guilt. It's saying no to what drains you so you can say yes to what truly matters. It's feeding your body, mind, and spirit with what keeps you vibrant. Whether that's meditation, time in nature, creative expression, or simply a few moments of stillness each day. And here's the paradox. The more you give to yourself, the more you have to give to others. Just like a river that keeps its source full so it can feed every stream along its path, you too must protect your source. This isn't self-centeredness, it's sustainability. Ask yourself, if I gave myself the same patience I give my friends, the same encouragement I give my children, how much more energy, love, and clarity would I have? What could I share from that fullness? You are not here to burn out for others. You are here to live fully so your light can guide others without dimming. Tend to your own flame first, then watch how naturally your warmth spreads. In our last lesson, we spoke about nourishing yourself as the foundation of true compassion. But there's another step you must take if you want that compassion to last. You have to stop placing your worth in the hands of others. And that's where we arrive at today's lesson. Your worth, when it no longer lives in someone else's hands. Ask yourself this. How many times have you traded your peace just to be accepted? How many times have you stayed silent, bent your truth, or hidden your light because you feared rejection? Every time you do, you're handing someone else the keys to your self-worth. When your value depends on external approval, it becomes fragile, like a delicate vase that changes owners daily. One day, someone admires it and places it in the sunlight. The next, they set it in the shadows, out of sight. If your self-worth moves with their moods, you'll spend your life being carried from shelf to shelf, never standing on your own. The truth is, no amount of likes, praise, or applause can give you what only you can give yourself. The deep, unshakable knowing that you are enough. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, no one saves us but ourselves. No one can, and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. So how do you take your worth back? It begins with mindfulness, not the kind that's just breathing or meditating for a few minutes a day, but the kind that asks you to notice the moments when you're reaching outward for validation. Pause and ask, if no one saw this, if no one applauded, would I still feel proud? If the answer is no, it's a sign you're performing for the crowd instead of living for your soul. It also means redefining success on your own terms. The world will tell you that your value is in your productivity, your beauty, your bank account, or your popularity. But these are shifting sands. One wave can erase them. True worth is bedrock. It's found in living with integrity, in knowing you spoke your truth, kept your promises to yourself, and acted with kindness even when no one was watching. Think of a mountain. It doesn't rise taller when praised or shrink when criticized. It stands rooted in the earth, unbothered by passing storms or seasons. You have that same ability. When your worth is rooted inside, external noise becomes just that, noise. Start small. The next time you post something, ask yourself why you're doing it. Is it to share something meaningful or to collect approval? The next time you make a choice, notice if it's because you want it or because you hope someone else will approve. With each decision rooted in your own values, you place another stone in the foundation of your self-worth. And here's the transformation. When your worth comes from within, praise no longer inflates you, and criticism no longer deflates you. You become steady, centered, and free. You no longer need a spotlight to shine. You realize you've been carrying the light all along. Your inner worth only truly matters when you dare to live and act from it. And this leads us to a deeper question. Are you living by your own standards or still letting others decide the rules for your life? That's exactly what we're about to explore next, your own standards. The true path to success. Imagine a traveler climbing a mountain, but constantly glancing at the peaks others are climbing. Every time they hear a cheer from another trail, they abandon their path and rush toward the noise. By the time they get there, the crowd has moved on, and the traveler is left standing halfway between places, never reaching the summit of anything. That's what happens when we live by someone else's standards. Our journey becomes scattered, and our soul feels unfinished. True success isn't about matching someone else's definition. It's about the quiet pride you feel when you know you honored your own vision. When you choose goals that align with your soul, the process itself becomes fulfilling, not just the outcome. Buddhist wisdom says, your work is to discover your world and then with all your heart give yourself to it. That world is unique to you. No one else can draw its map, no one else can walk its paths. And yet most of us get pulled into measuring our worth against the timelines, achievements, and applause of others. The danger is that external standards are a moving target. Trends change, opinions shift, and approval fades. If your success depends on keeping up, you'll always be running, never arriving. But when your standard comes from within, you walk at your own pace, with clarity and confidence. So how do you create your own standards? Start by asking, what matters to me, even if no one else sees it? Make a list of values that feel true: integrity, kindness, creativity, growth, and let them guide your choices. Then set goals that express those values in tangible ways. For example, if growth matters to you, success could mean reading a certain number of books, learning a new skill, or taking on challenges that stretch you, regardless of who notices. Living by your own standards also means protecting your energy from comparison. Social media, friends, even family might celebrate milestones that aren't part of your path. It's okay to be happy for them without trying to match them. You're not behind. You're simply walking a different road. And here's the beauty. When you commit to your own standards, every step counts. There's no wasted effort, no detours chasing someone else's dream. You may move slower, but each action plants you deeper into a life that feels real. Picture yourself as a sculptor. If you keep asking the crowd what shape they want, you'll never finish your art, and it won't look like you. But when you trust your vision, each strike of the chisel reveals more of the masterpiece that's been hidden inside all along. When you begin living by your own standards, something profound starts to happen. You stop bending yourself to fit someone else's frame, but there's an even deeper shift waiting, realizing that your worth was never up for debate in the first place. And that brings us to our next lesson, self-worth, the jewel beyond negotiation. Think of a diamond lying in the earth. Whether it's covered in dirt or displayed in a velvet case, its value doesn't change. It doesn't plead to be seen, and it doesn't bargain to be accepted. It simply is. Your worth works the same way. It is not earned by achievements, beauty, wealth, or approval. It is your birthright. Yet many of us live as if we must continually prove ourselves, like merchants in a market haggling over our own value. We adjust our behavior, our appearance, even our dreams to match what we think will sell. But the truth is, every time you try to bargain for your worth, you're chipping away at the very thing you're trying to protect. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. This isn't a suggestion, it's a reality. You are already enough exactly as you are, before the praise, before the accomplishments, before the world ever noticed. Freedom comes when you stop seeking permission to believe in yourself. It's the moment you say, I am enough, not because they say so, but because I am. This doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you free. It allows you to walk into a room without shrinking or puffing up, simply carrying the quiet confidence of someone who knows their own value. So how do you embody this? Start by noticing when you're waiting for someone to validate your choices, your appearance, or your worth. Instead of asking, do they approve? Ask, do I approve of myself in this moment? Replace the habit of chasing acceptance with the practice of self-affirmation. Remember, no relationship, job, or audience can give you a value you already possess. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop trying to be enough for others, you often find that the right people are drawn to you anyway. Not because you perform for them, but because your authenticity resonates. Picture yourself as that diamond again. Buried or displayed, it makes no difference to its nature. Your job isn't to convince the world of your worth. Your job is to live it fully and unapologetically. When you recognize your worth as unshakable, something even more beautiful happens. You stop hiding it, and in doing so, you give silent permission for others to do the same. That's the heart of our final lesson. Living true to yourself, the torch that inspires others. Living authentically doesn't just change your own life. It becomes a ripple that moves through everyone you touch. People can feel when you are deeply aligned with who you are, when your words match your actions and your choices reflect your values. You don't have to preach it, sell it, or convince anyone. The quiet confidence and peace you carry speak louder than any speech. Imagine walking into a room where everyone is wearing a mask. Then one person walks in without one, calm, steady, and unapologetically themselves. That single act can shift the entire energy of the space. Suddenly, others start loosening their masks, breathing a little easier, remembering what it feels like to be themselves. That's the power of one person living in truth. Living for yourself doesn't mean cutting off from others. It means you give from a place of fullness instead of depletion. It means your kindness isn't a transaction, your love isn't an obligation, and your generosity doesn't drain you, because it comes from a well that you've taken the time to fill. And here's the gift. Every step you take in alignment with your true nature clears a path, not just for you, but for those walking behind you. Someone struggling with people-pleasing may see your boundaries and think, maybe I can do that too. Someone stuck in fear may see your courage and realize, I'm allowed to live like that. The Buddha's teachings remind us that transformation is contagious, but it begins within. By choosing your truth over convenience, peace over approval, and authenticity over performance, you become a quiet revolution. So as we close this journey together, remember, the most inspiring thing you can offer the world is the example of a life lived honestly. You don't have to force it. Live it so fully, so unapologetically, that your presence becomes the quiet light showing others they too can come home to themselves. Stop waiting for permission. Stop shrinking yourself to fit inside a life that was never yours. Stop handing over the pen and letting someone else write your story. This is your one life, your one chance to feel fully alive, to walk into a room and know you are exactly where you're meant to be. When you choose yourself, you're not abandoning others. You're finally showing them what freedom looks like. You become the proof that it's possible, and that proof is more powerful than any speech, any book, any lecture. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, no more half-living, no more apologizing for the space you take up. Live boldly, love deeply, set your boundaries like your life depends on them, because it does. If this message hit you, don't let it fade. Comment below. Share this with someone who's ready to wake up, and stay with us, because the next step in your freedom starts in the next video.